Alright, hey everyone, today I'll be showing you one of my illustrations and guiding you guys through it, somewhat like a verbal tutorial based off the video game The Last of Us and the main character Joel. So first things first, on screen I will show you the brush that I'll be using. It was just a hard round brush that I put a little bit of an angle to it, so if you guys like the way the line work turns out, you can always pause it and copy the settings into your Photoshop. I am using Photoshop CS6 and I am using a tablet. I'm using a Wacom bamboo tablet, but I'm pretty sure that the brush settings will go all the way back to CS3. But what I started with was an initial sketch on a separate layer that is now underneath and is toned down to 50%. So I use that to help me guide with my new lines, and I'm using this brush for the thicks and thins that I think is very important. Instead of having just a steady one weight of a line, there's many weights and there's different sizes of the brush, and it really brings movement to the drawing, which I really like. This is going to be kind of not a cartoon, but a caricature of the person. It's not going to be hyper realistic, but reference was still very important. You'll see I'll bring up an image of Joel here and there that I'm using for reference for his clothes, his face, and everything. So if you're trying to get a likeness of a person, reference is very important to get their eyes, their nose, their mouth all the same. So my process right now is just going over the lines of the initial sketch. I'm not necessarily just going slowly, I'm using a movement stroke. I'm putting weight to the line, and you can see I'll screw up a couple times, but there's no harm in that. You can always Control Z and go back. So, and you also see that I'm using the eraser quite a bit, and that's if I like the movement of the line but it's just too jagged or it's too thick, I'll just go in with the eraser and thin it up or smooth it out. So that's very helpful. So again, the process, just going over my line work, and if you have any trouble with some parts, like you'll see I'll have some trouble with this pocket, that it's okay to erase and restart. That's the beauty of Photoshop. You can always just go back and nothing's permanent. But if you are having trouble, erase it and move on to another part, and come back to it, and maybe your mind will be at ease from that part and refreshed, and you'll get that part down packed. So I'm just working on the close. It's okay to screw up again, and you just get that motion in that line work. Alright, so just fast forward a bit. Again, using the same process, but now I was just working on the face. And the difference, or the good thing that I like to use, is I change the width and the size of the brush. So usually for the outline of the character, I'll do a nice thick size, like about 20 pixels. And you can see in the top left corner that my brush is about 20 pixels right now. But when I go into the smaller details or the finer details, I like to use a brush, sorry, just changing music. I like to use a brush around 10 pixels. And this really helps, that everything's not just one weight. There's different weights, and this shows that there's movement and stuff. So you'll see when I do the seams of the jean, I'll go to a smaller brush. I think it's right now. Yeah, I think it's about a 6 brush. And I'm just doing the seams of the jean, and I actually make the brush even smaller, and then I go for kind of the stitching effect of what you would see on jeans, and I really like that. It adds a lot of detail, and it looks very nice. Which you can tell it's jeans, and I'll do that throughout this image, and I'll use it on the shirt, and I'll use it on the wrinkles of the pants and the wrinkles of the shirt, and even some stitching on the shoe. And you can see that I zoom in and out a bunch of times, and I find that very helpful because if you're stuck on one spot and you're putting so much detail into it, and then once you zoom out it doesn't look good at all, you have to be constantly zooming out. And that's what happened a couple of times with the zipper part of the jeans. I was in there doing the stitching detail and trying to get it right, but when I zoomed out it was completely wrong. Okay, so here's the final part of the line work. I'm working on the shoes and some of the smaller details. Again, I have the line. If it's too thick or if it's too jagged, I'll go in with the eraser, and you can see my lines are quite jagged. But I go in, I thin it out. If it's too thin, I'll thicken it up and then erase it again. So the line that you'll be doing is not going to be perfect 100% of the times. And you can see that I add a little bit of detail with the thinner brush, and that just shows some 3D elements of the shoe. You know, that's the part of the boot that is the rubber sole, so that sticks out further than the toe. So I'm just working on the shoes, and you can see when I zoom out a bit, I added more detail into the pants and detail into the shirt, where again I used the smaller brush and I added the fold marks and the wrinkles. At the end of this, I'll zoom out fully and I'll show you guys all the small details that I added, or some of the wrinkles, and I added veins on his arms, which it completes the whole look of the line work. And you know, a good line work is going to help your color quite a bit. So I think here's the part where I zoom out. I'm just finishing up the smaller details, and yeah, here it is. So this is the line work. I actually slowed it down here so that you guys can get a better look of what I did. I slowed it down to, I think, half of real time. And this I'll show you the final composition of the character and the smaller details. So he has his gun, he has his backpack, and again, this was referenced from pictures and actually the trailer, or demo shall I say. So guys, check it out. It's a pretty cool trailer, looks like a good game. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the line work. So if you guys enjoyed it, please let me know in the comments below. Like it if you liked it. And I'll see you on part 2 where we get into coloring. Thanks guys.